So, well, thanks again for you guys all joining us. We love these times together, so it's exciting. And tonight we really wanted to get together and hear from everybody for one, but the intention of tonight's call is really going to be about
Okay.
stimulating ideas on how to use the Healy. And so we're going to have some people share, but then I want to kind of go around and see if anybody else has some really great ideas that we haven't thought about. And one of the things with mute somebody out there. So our biggest thing with the Healy is that everything's frequency, right? And we really, really like to get people to think outside of the box. And you guys know that in our group, that's what we teach. And so tonight we just wanted to talk about like all the different ways that we can use the Healy, that other people are using it, and really start to stimulate ways that not only you could use it either in your practice or something that you do in your daily life, but also how you can share the Healy with other people and how they can use it in something that they're doing. And again, we've heard a lot from different practitioners and things, but tonight we're going to focus a little bit, we're going to focus all over the place, but tonight we're going to hear from Carolyn and Donna a little bit about how they use it with houses and in real estate, and different ways that they're using it. So last week we talked about, I don't know if all of you got to see Shibumi's breathwork class that he did with us last week. I know Patty, you were on there, and he talked about how he used the Healy in his breathwork workshop, and how in 13 years of using in 13 years of doing breathwork, how when he started using the Healy in his workshops, like how amazing the results were for the people in his workshops. And then we heard from Laura talk about how she uses the Healy with spiritual self-defense. I know we had a ton of good feedback about that. We have many massage therapists in our group that use the Healy for, while they're doing a massage, they use it on their clients. You heard Brian and I talk about how we used it on our garden this year. And wow, like the crop that we got, it was so funny because my dad was over here, like 2 weeks ago, Brian, I think. And you're muted, Brian, but that's and so when he was over here, he was talking about how this is the first year like that we've had just an amazing crop with our garden. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, because we've been running the Healy on it. so there's just so many ways and to elevate what we're already doing, or also something that I love to do. I was talking with a gentleman today about what we can create, connecting with your passions of what you love to do and how you can incorporate the Healy with that and really make a beautiful package and combination. So we're going to really dive into that kind of those ideas tonight. And so I would love, Carolyn, I know I asked for you to kind of share a little bit. I want to just dive right in on how, tell a little bit about what you're doing, what your practice is. I know you have a couple different things with real estate and healing, but I would love for you to share different ways that you've been using the Healy.
Well, I think I'm very novice in this. But I do use it on, so I learned how to use it on a building. So I have been using it on my house as well as my office. I want to bring in good energy into my office, and I have a lot of people coming in and out of there. So it's important to, have good energy in there to attract good energy, attract good people. I actually am really lucky. I have, I think the energy that I have in my office brings good qualified buyers, but also good, easy to work with buyers too. Like I don't have a lot of drama. And that's really important to have a good work environment.
Yeah.
And so I I do use the Healy when I was out at a conference. I use the Healy in my um, uh, my hotel room too for the conference. It was a business conference, but on listings as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, and also when I put in an offer, I do it too. So for
That's
good
great.
energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I know, again, going back to like, we use it a lot on the physical. We think about the physical body. Um, but we love to share it with like people like you who are using it in other ways.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna so anyway, awesome. Thanks for sharing. And so I know that you also do some work, just you're really into healing, and you were create last time I talked to you, you were creating a healing room at your new house. So
Um,
have you been using it more in your healing practice as well?
well, yes. So um, my son 4 weeks ago was hit by a car, and I used the Healy on him intensely. Um, he had to go to the hospital. He was T-boned. He was on his bicycle and he got hit by a car. The hospital was absolutely amazed that he had no broken bones, no fractures, just a bruised hip. And within a week after that, he was in Peru climbing and biking, and I mean, and on top of it, I did Reiki on him. So, but the Healy, I was able. I think I probably did the Healy on him. I don't know, for it probably was for at least a good 12 hours straight, like one right after the other. I did it on him while he was in the hospital. The whole time he was there for about 4 or 5 hours. And then me doing Reiki on him as well. And then I kept doing the Healy on him after that as well. And then I made sure my home was really well prepared for him when he came to look after it while I was in my conference too.
Mm,
So
awesome.
I think it made a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing. How about you, Donna? I would love for you to share. You have a really great story about real estate as well. And I would love for you to share different ways that you've been using the Healy.
Hi, congratulations, by the way, Director Dawn. Okay. Uh, your fearless leader, Dawn, became a director yesterday. So I just had to say congratulations to her because she's awesome.
Thanks, Donna.
Thanks, dear. So it was funny because I tend to be this like believer in everything and dream big and think big. And then I get my Healy and I'm like, so cautious. How do I use this? I want to do it right. What am I doing? It's like I just had such belief in what it could do. And yet I still had, even though I know it can't do harm, I still was like, I want to do it right. So when it came time, I mean, I'm doing stuff on myself, and a little bit on some other people, with some other people. And so one of my friends is talking to me, and they are, I'm not sure if this is the right words, but bitching and moaning. Oh, and we had 37 showings, and nobody's buying the house. And we moved here from San Francisco. We spent $3 million on this house, and we really want to move over to Miami Beach. On and on. Okay, so you definitely got the gist of all that, right?
Yeah.
But going on and on. And I said, I have a healing. And they're like, we don't believe in that. I said, what could it hurt? If you don't believe in it, what could it hurt? Let's try it. So I decided it could be remote, but I decided I was going to their house because I wanted to make sure if it could work, I wanted it to. I don't even know that that's necessary, as you guys all know, but I still wanted to do it. So I went to the house, put the blue dot on, and I said, okay, first we had to create the client. And so I said, everything that I've learned about this is all about intention. So when we're going to name it, let's name it something really good. Because they had over like 3.5, 4 months, like 37 showings, and nobody made even an offer. So they decided to name it Tropical Paradise, which it was. It is. So we put it in, we look up all the coordinates and put everything in. And we're ready to, put the intention in with the fingerprint, or, with the thought. And so I say to them, let's just, and they go, no, we know what we're doing now. This is the perfect tropical paradise for somebody that wants to come here and be very happy. Excellent, good intention. Boom. So we run. We run it. It comes up with what it says, and I go home. I don't know why I wanted to be there to do that part, but I wanted to be there. I get home, and I know that this is something they say a building could take 8 hours or 12 hours. So I thought, okay, I'm going to run this while I go to sleep tonight. So I run, and I don't mean to make this long, so let me speed it up a little bit. So I put it on, and I just run exactly. I did I ran the different things that came up in the blue dot, and then I took the top 2, and I ran the top one for 8 hours, and I got up, and I ran the second one for 4 hours, and I didn't hear from them. And I didn't hear from them. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. I get a call. We got an offer. I'm like, oh, how great is that? And I didn't want to get like over excited, but I'm thinking they got an offer. I said, you want me to run it again? Yes, run it again. So this time I had enough faith to do the blue dot from home. And ran it again. Within 5 days, the house sold. They got their asking price for it. And I was just like, oh, you're something. Now, I understand that we have the power with our intention to do these things. But, for me, it's like, how often do I don't even know if I have the ability to hold the focus for that long and that clear to make it happen so quickly. And I'm just, so grateful for this. So that's, that was kind of like what happened with my first building experience. And I just want to say, Dawn, you were talking about other things. I used to listen to Mark a lot on Tuesdays, and he always recommends to go to this Healy Global Experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. I think there's like 25,000 people on it. And the only thing you're allowed to do is put personal experiences of how you use your Healy. And I think that's also a good resource because for me, sometimes I don't think of other ways of how I could use my Healy. And then when I go there and I'll read somebody else's, I go, oh, what a good idea. I never thought to use it for that.
Yeah.
So I think that it's always good. And that's why I love what you're doing tonight, because I know I'll listen and I'll hear what somebody else is doing, and they'll listen and they'll hear, oh, I want to sell my house, or I want to buy a house, or, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe, and you said this over and over again, I really do believe that the intention part of how we decide to run it is so important.
Yeah. I was on a training with, is it Michael Dance, who was doing on the coaching, and he talked about actually, and this is really important because there's a whole new coaching module that they have. So I was doing the training on that, and there's the focus statement, but he talked about no matter when you're using the Healy, whether it's during the coaching or in the aura or just in the blue app when you're running the analysis, that before you press start and do the analysis, it is so important for you to hold an intention and a focus statement and you can speak it, say it, write it down on paper. He said it's you communicating with the quantum, The Healy, when you type it into the Healy's not reading that because the Healy is in quantum language. It's reading the quantum, and what the quantum is our intention. So you don't have to write anything in the Healy as long as you can write it down on paper or speak it or know it very clearly. And I thought that was really, really good because a lot of people I was talking to a gentleman, he's like, I don't know, I'm not really getting like a lot of on the analysis, like things that he was waiting for. I'm like, well, what's your intention? Are you just speeding through it, or are you actually holding an intention and taking Mark or whatever, who did I say? Michael said, make sure that you you take that as a meditative state, right? Right before you push the start transmission and you do your assessment, you're in a meditative state and holding that intention. So it's important to take that 30 seconds or a minute to really get clear results.
I do have one question though, like especially like with the real estate thing, and this may be more for you, Carolyn, than not for me. But I figured, geez, they weren't getting any results, and I ran the Healy, and they sold a $3 million house in 5 days. I mean, is that like worth a 2% commission?
That could be a 3% commission. No, and that is very that's really powerful. I love that story.
Yeah.
I'm going to because I wasn't, I find that some people, they already look at me like I'm a little different because I'm so into the stones and the energies like that. So I'm a little cautious on what I say to people and how, so a lot of times I do work on buildings opposed to asking the people, but I might incorporate that. But right now our market is so crazy anyways, but I could use it on my buyers. That would be a good idea because it's so hard to get a home. So
there you go. Yeah.
The thing too is, I think so. This couple whose house I went to, I had talked to them a week or two before, like we were at the beach together, and they just had no belief. I mean, they had significant health problem, challenges that easily I would have been happy to and offered, and they're like, no, we don't believe in that. We don't believe in that. Yeah. And then I said something about, well, I heard it works on, houses and people that want to sell them. Oh, really? Like all of a sudden, they became interested, even though, all that energy stuff. They really weren't that kind of people. And they was like what you said. Oh, yeah, that's Donna with her stuff. And yet, at the same time, the minute that this worked, they just started to have a whole new respect for energy work of whatever kind.
Oh, very nice. So is this? So are you doing energy work on them then now?
I'm not. I tend to, so like for me in my life, first of all, I've got like big job that I do, and I like to take the free time that I do have and kind of like use it mostly on myself with my Healy, although I do some remotes, and my mom has dementia, so I've been working with her on it a little bit. But for me, I haven't yet. It's not like I'm not like doing that as part of what I'm using my Healy for. I do like to share them with people to use it for themselves. There's a whole bunch of people on the team that they're just like day and night practically doing it for sometimes 2 and 3 and 4 people at a time. They've got tables where the Healys are set up and they're running it for different people. And I just really haven't gotten into that aspect for myself yet.
Right. Yeah.
But it fascinates me to see how people's opinion turns around when they actually see a result.
Yeah.
Right.
Quick, especially when it's quick.
Real quick, Dawn, do you remember the meeting we had with Leslie?
Yeah.
So she was suffering from these awful, intense migraines for about a year. And like about, I think a week after, they discovered that it was an abscessed tooth. So they had been, going all over the place with this stuff. And here she had an abscess tooth and it's all been taken care of. And so it's interesting how that worked out. I think that if we hadn't done the Healy on her, she'd be still
Stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, it is fascinating to wrap up like the real estate part. When Brian and I, when we were in Vegas, Brian, remember the gentleman who went up and spoke and talked about his house in San Francisco?
Yeah.
And yeah, and he said that he did the Healy, and what he did, and very similar to what you were talking about, Donna, he had talked about, he felt the feeling again, because that's what we teach, right? It's all about the feeling. So he felt the feeling of joy and abundance and just all this feeling, and that's what he put into the Healy, and that's what he ran, that feeling, and then he ran the assessment for that, and he ended up getting into like a bidding war and got like 45,000 or something over his asking price.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, and like Donna, you were saying, you know, when you got your Healy and you kind of like, oh, I got to use it the right way. I see that so much with people. That's why I love doing remote sessions before you even get a Healy in hand, because what my theory, and I've seen it for the last year, is that I do a remote session and all of a sudden people understand because they don't have it in their hand. So they don't put it in a box. They don't put it in a third dimensional box, right? And so they're feeling it through the quantum field. They're having results, and there's nothing in their hand. And I'm across the country or across the world. And the second they get in their hand, all of a sudden their brain puts it in a box and they're like, oh, what do I do with this? I can only run it physically if I have it in my hand. And I'm like, it is so fascinating. So that's why I continue to do remote session training, because it's really to build the belief of how powerful the Healy is. So awesome. So one more share. Brian gets to share tonight because Brian did this amazing meditation and used the Healy throughout it, and he wanted to share about it tonight.
Yeah, so one of the things I did was this sound frequency with the chakras. And it was really cool because you have the frequency of sound. And what we decided to do is incorporate the Healy with that. So every morning would be about a 30 to 40 minute sound meditation happening with the sound frequency. And then I'd incorporate the chakra that'd be incorporated with that. So for example, like the first 3 days or 4 days, it was the third eye chakra. So the sound was intentional for that. And then I ran the chakra program on the third eye program under the chakra categories. And we did that for 31 days. And every day we set an intention for what we do. Like you say, Donna, you know, the intention is so important in what we do when we go through wherever it is with the Healy. So every day we did this, and it was so powerful because you have the sound, you know, coming through your ears, you got the vibrations, frequencies coming through, and then you go feel the Healy vibrations coming through as well too. And it was just like this intermingling of the two. And it was such an enhancement, such a tool to use the Healy, and I feel like it enhanced the experience so much more. Feeling the chakras open, feel these centers like your heart center opening, your root chakra opening. And it was very profound. I mean, I think there was 1 or 2 days. Actually, there was one day when I was running the heart chakra. They say run it for like 3 days or 4 days, but no more than 4 days. And I was running on the third day. And at the end of that, I just started breaking down and crying. It was like something got pulled out of me. And it was so profound that it just blew me away. And I feel like with the combination of the Healy with those other frequencies of the sound, it really enhanced how this worked. And we did this for 21 days, and it was just an amazing experience to go through that journey, going through the chakras.
Yeah, it was so amazing that we actually would love to guide all of you. If anybody, we thought about doing it as a group and guiding all of you and we can send you the exact sound frequencies that we used and the guide, because Brian has created a beautiful guide for each day of what the chakra is we're working on, the sound frequency that goes with it, the Healy, you know, running the Healy, and then the intention, like Brian was saying, each day, depending on which chakra we were working on, each chakra had a very specific intention that we were working on opening up. And it was profound. I mean, our creativity, I got to say, over the last 3 weeks of us doing this, it opened up some serious creativity in us and flow. It was amazing. So if anybody's interested in that, we'll probably, yeah.
I'm interested, very interested.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, but definitely we thought it would be really fun. I mean, we can definitely send it out individually, but we thought it would be really fun to do as a group and really hold an intention together as a group for the 21 days. It was amazing. And also in that, you know, one of the things, you know, talking about ways that we use the Healy, just to kind of roll into one of the other ways that I've been doing a monthly fast for quite some time, and I use a specific kit that I use for fasting. And we, like, during that time when we started the chakra meditation, we were actually fasting, so we were cleansing the chakras and really opening up and fasting. And one of the things that I've been doing, you know, out of my wellness center for a while now, but that is using that in combination with other things. And so, like, and this is just another example of how you can just take something that you're doing and then incorporate the Healy into it and make it even more profound. So like I have a 6-day reset, and then in that, oh sorry, Brian, you and then in that the 6-day reset, I do the fast, and I do my quantum coaching, and then I do the Healy frequencies specifically for cleansing the body and fasting. And then I do a 3-month program that is a whole transitional program focused on body, mind, and spirit. So the first month I work with my clients on the body, and I'm doing frequencies for the body, intentions for the body, habits for the body, and we're also doing the fasting. The second month I'm doing the mind. So we're doing frequencies for the mind, coaching around the mind, you know, thoughts, emotions, and then also the intentions for that and the habits around that, and then the fasting. And then the third month is spirit, and we're working on connecting with the higher self, your passions, your intuition, running frequencies from the Healy that are around your soul, and then doing the fasting. And it's an amazing 3 months of transformation. But again, those are things that I do coaching, right? I'm a quantum coach. I do the fasting, which I've been putting my clients on that at my wellness center for 3 years and doing that and having amazing results. And then combining it all together with the Healy and letting the Healy be the center point, it is like really elevated that 3 months. I mean, it's very, very powerful. So that's why I want to encourage you to look at the things that you're either already doing and how you can incorporate the Healy with that. You know, like Donna, that's a perfect example of you incorporate the Healy and selling a home, and they get exactly what they're asking for. You know, I have a, you know, like just examples, like a house cleaner could be cleaning homes and then incorporate the Healy to clean it energetically. And because that's what our house cleaner does, and she's amazing. And I come into my home and it feels so good. So, you know, a florist could use it with their flowers. A chef could use frequencies for their food. Gardeners can use it in their garden. Veterinarians, I'm working with a holistic veterinarian right now. They can use it with the animals. And I know, you know, Donna, when you said your friends aren't into, you know, some people just, there's certain things that they're just not going to listen to. You got to find what their passions are. People will do more for their animals than they'll do for themselves. So, you know, share with them the Healy. Some people will do more for their garden than they will for themselves. Some people will do more for their business than they will for themselves. Some people do more for their children than they will do their, but guess what? The Healy does all of that. So find what their passion is and share with them. And that's why we're doing this tonight, to get you to really get stimulated and get ideas about all the different ways that not only you can use it, but you can share with others. Because essentially that's our vision, is to raise the frequency of this planet, right? We need that right now. That is our team's mission. And so how can we do that and do it more? Right? Yes, Donna.
You know, you just said that. I have some friends who have a lot of health challenges and probably other ones too, but we don't need to go into that. But when I was talking about the Healy and they kept turning me down for everything, in just, and now I'm going to go back and explore it because you just said that, you brought that to my attention. What they really want is to play golf better. They're more just a better golf game than they are at all this other stuff. And yet, maybe that's the foot in the door, as whatever you say, the way to get them to pay attention.
Heck yeah. Do you know my dad's 84 and wears his Healy to the golf course? He golfs 4 days a week. When he had a back issue, do you know why he bought a Healy? He had a back issue back in, I think it was November of last year. And I ran the Healy on him, and then he got the Healy and he ran it for 4 days. I've shared this story. He ran it on nerves, like the 2 nerve programs. He ran it twice a day for 4 days. His back pain went away, and he said his golf game got better, and that was it for him. If his golf game gets better, because he couldn't golf for 6 weeks because his back hurt so bad, as soon as he could golf again and they got his game better, he started wearing it around, and he was showing all of his buddies why he golfs so well because of his Healy that he's wearing. So again, finding what people care about, because that's what they're going to listen to. Because like I said in the beginning, everything's frequency. Everything, every movement, every emotion, every thought, every food, everything is frequency. So how are you going to share frequencies with people? Anybody have any other ways they're using it that you want to share with the group that you didn't get to talk about tonight? Or anybody have any ideas that just got stimulated that you want to share?
I was wondering if I could ask a question.
Sure.
Donna, did you run the vibration on the home also? After you did your analysis, did you run the vibration on it?
So first I asked the question in the blue dot, or held the intention in the blue dot, and I ran, the 5 things that came up, just for the, just as it was, right? And then I went and I took the number 1 run, and I didn't know exactly. I just heard that, 8 to 12 hours was what I heard. So I took the top thing that was at the top and ran that for 8 hours. And took the second one and ran that for 4 hours.
On vibration.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. From my house. It was remote.
Yeah.
I went there. I don't even know why I went there. I went there, and I think it was more for their sake than for mine even, because I was there in their house and they showed me all around, and you would have thought I was the realtor. That's what made me ask the silly question about the commissions. But I thought, wait a minute, maybe that wasn't so silly. But yes, I did do that. Actually, I told him I was going to do it a couple nights in a row. And the second night I didn't do it because I was like so busy, and then I fell asleep. And so I wrote to them and said, I'm so sorry I didn't get it, I didn't get a chance to run it tonight. I'll run it again tomorrow, which I did do the next night. And then I didn't do it anymore because I didn't hear back from them until, it was like 5 days, I think. And all of a sudden I got the call. We got an offer. And then it was a week later, the sale was done. And it was like, all right.
Yeah. So Carolyn, I'm excited to hear when you start using it in that way, you'll be like the top seller, top real estate person in Arizona. So to kind of like finish up with the ideas, are you going to comment on that, Carolyn?
Yeah, I definitely want to comment on that because I did set intentions for myself to be in the top 20, and since I got it, I didn't even realize, like, just, I set the intention and I forgot about it. And, but I did do it with the Healy. And then this last quarter, I was, I think I was like number 16, or maybe it was 12. I can't remember. But I was in the top 20 and I was like, wow, I didn't even realize I made it, like, so it was kind of it was a pleasant surprise, but that is what I did. So, and it did work. And I had intention, to be in the top 20 for the whole year. And so we'll see if that pans out, but that's my intention for that too.
Well, now you have a whole new strategy on how to use the Healy even more after hearing from Donna. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I will. And I think that's really good. So I'll continue.
Well, and talking and going back to what you were just talking about with goals, and I know we've shared that before, but putting your goal into the Healy, feeling the feeling of you accomplishing that goal, what that feels like, and then running the assessment, because when you go into the Blue app and you can put other, right? So you can click on other or group or whatever you want to do, and you name, like Donna named the house, right? Tropical Paradise. You name your goal, whatever that is, and then you really feel into it before you run the assessment. You can record the vibration of it, feel into what that feels like, record the vibration of that really being right now, present tense, and then you run the assessment for it. And you see what frequencies you need to run to clean things up so that you can get to that goal faster. It's a really great way to use the Healy. You can do that. I know, Terry, you're a coach. I mean, you could do that when you're coaching people. You can do that. Carolyn, I know you're huge into fitness. I mean, you could do that for like your goal for, because I know you've been doing that. Yeah, I mean, you've been doing all kinds of like crazy, amazing workouts and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, we have the fitness categories and all that, but if you have a goal, like a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day goal, put that into the Healy and start running it. So really great. Huh?
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
The thing that I'm not real sure about with incorporating the Healy like that, because when I work with clients, I'm doing energy work with them and helping them clear that energy, but it's really hard for them. I mean, once you get to the point when you can really feel it, like I can have things manifest almost instantly, once I can really get to that feeling. So that's basically the work I'm doing. But when you say that you feel into it and then put that in and then run the assessment, that's the part that's really hazy for me, that I'm not really sure what you're doing there.
Yeah, so there's two ways to do that. And so in the Blue app, right? You're always in the Blue app when you're doing this. When you're in the Blue app, and for people who don't know what the Blue app, that's when you have the resonance. So you have to have the resonance to have the Blue app. And so when you're in the Blue app and you put like your client in, or your client, say like what I'm talking about specifically is a goal. So when you put that goal in as a, you can put it in as a group or client or whatever. And then you can
just like an intention, you mean, or you're naming it, or when you say put it in, you're just saying,
is it just like you would put in a new client, right? When you add a client, it goes all the way down the list. Is this a person, animal, building, group, other? So you could click other, right? Because it's a goal. And then you put the information in about your goal, right? You name it, what's your start date, all that kind of stuff. And then just like you can record the vibration, a personal vibration of you, right? When you do a client, you can record a vibration of yourself. You do that, you hold that vibration, that's what I'm saying. You hold that feeling of that goal as though it's already been accomplished, right? That's, that as a coach that we do that. And then you record the vibration of that. That's just an added step. You don't have to do that. You could just put your goal in under other. You don't have to do the vibration. And then always, again, when you go to do the assessment and you're clicking on all Healy programs and you're doing the assessment, you go to put your fingerprint, again, always holding that feeling of what it is you desire, right? So you desire, even if it's for yourself, if it's like feeling really good, energetic, clear-headed, what does that feel like? What does that feel like to be young and dance and healthy? I mean, it's the feeling. Everything is feeling. I mean, when you're working with intention, it's all present moment. So that's what you're doing with the intention of the when you're running the assessment on the Healy all the time. You're going to get much more clear results when you're really clear on what you're bringing in.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm teaching people, but I'm really wondering, like the steps you're talking about when you're saying you're putting that in the Healy. So you're getting, you know, feeling as close to it as possible, and then putting that vibration in the settings or in the vibration part of it, and then going to the pink one and doing I mean, all the programs, or that's kind of where I'm kind of confused about the steps there.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I mean?
in the blue app, when you're putting your fingerprint down, you're holding the feeling of what you desire.
Yeah, okay.
When it pops up to what the top program is that comes up with that on the assessment, that's when you go into the pink app and you run that specific program.
Okay.
So, all right.
So it's kind of the same with anything. It's just the same process, right? Only you're
Yeah,
just in the
exactly.
one is holding the vibration and putting it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Know
Yeah.
that. Okay.
And if anybody would love, if you want help on how to use the Healy and create something, something that you're either already doing personally with your practice or something you want to do, I love diving into that and exploring with people. So just, book some time with me. You guys know that I've got my calendar out there. I'm available 3 days a week for all Healy stuff. And just book it and we can explore that. These kinds of things and going back and forth with each other about, I do this and I want to incorporate the Healy in this, or this is something I'm interested in. Like I talked with a guy today and we were just talking about that. Like, what is the thing you really love to do with people? And then how can we incorporate the Healy and bring in and as a center point with everything else to bring it in? So again, just book a session, book some time with me and I'll help you like figure that out and create it. And Terry, if you need more time figuring that kind of stuff out, let's just get together this week and I can really walk you through more about how you can be using it with your clients in that way.
I would love that. How do you book, or where do you find your calendar?
Yeah, so tomorrow, every week, every time we send out our emails, like tomorrow we'll send out this recording with a little brief thing, and there's always a book one-on-one with Dawn link on there on every single email we send out pretty much. So you can just click on that and you'll see my calendar and just book a time and we meet on Zoom and we'll just walk through it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.